Hi there. Okay, so now with a title like that, I expect you to look at me, with a question mark. So, let me give you some examples you're surely going to even relate to. I'll pick some easy ones. For instance, I went to see my doctor saying I need something for my neck. It does this clenching and tightening act, at night when it's time to go to sleep. Come to think of it, I get it in my back and leg cramps too. It keeps me up at night and it feels almost like contractions. I should try stretching too. But I asked my doctor, can you prescribe me something for that? She says, yes, here is a prescription for Flexeril. So I said, thank you, and left, with that. As I began taking it, sure, I felt relief and was better able to sleep. But over the next couple of months or so, I started to have blurry vision. Not so much basic looking at things, but words, when I wanted to read, were beginning to not be clear. So now, what is this fog that has come over me? I don't want to just accept that I'm growing old or worse, panic and think I, now need to get my head examined by a psychiatrist and then another doctor, to perform a vision screening. Then what, an MRI on my brain? Meantime, I keep being handed prescriptions and they begin to add up. Even if I didn't ask for them, they will still hand me a whole bunch of pill bottles, patches, and then there's the injections and more blood draws. This stuff costs money. I am now waiting in more lines, having to pay for Ubers because hell, let's figure out what's wrong with my vision before I get behind the wheel of a car, right? Also, I've never been even to an ophthalmologist like my whole life. So that was another new experience because God forbid they find anything wrong with me. So, yes, I went over anxious and ended up doing all of the above. But what do you know? Every single one came back with a good report. Sorry, you don't have a disease. No sign of infection here either, or anywhere else for that matter. The psychiatrist told me you are not crazy. It seems you're schooled even enough, though, to tell who actually else is. But are you sure? Because I think all the way back just to when I was way, way small, and it was my mother saying that there was something wrong with me. I have stopped not only listening to her, saying that to me, but also believing that any of it was ever true. Guess what the side effect for Flexeril is? Printed so small on the paperwork in the bottle they gave to me that I didn't notice until recently because it says, and I laughed, it may blur your vision. So I stopped just taking it, if I am still working on something important, even, late at night, so I can literally still read what I am doing. Years later, come to find out, a lot of things are better with chronic uh, ailments, like high blood pressure, asthma, and allergies, because I began to take better care of myself and have become a lot more healthier physically, mentally, emotionally. Oh, yes, and spiritually too. Sometimes one can get healed just from changing the station that they have been listening to. My neighbor took me actually to a couple of follow up doctor appointments after surgery. She also seemed considerably grumpy or quite easily, agitated, but yet talks about God a lot, only plays Christian music on her radio in her car. When I was sitting in the front seat beside her, I reached over, like a teenager, switching the radio station to something called Kixie on 96.5. I told her as she got happy, like I did, and sang along the next couple of songs that played on the radio, old school stuff we both had not heard in a very long time. I said, "This is what I listen to. It's a mix of all the great stuff, like the 80s, the 90s era, but all, love and anthems, encouragement, some feel better, repetitive statements, not to mention some beats, it starts. The super serum, though, fixed to that manic Monday mood, right? So, she couldn't argue with me. It helped better than just putting up with a fixed mindset, not to say anything, is wrong with Christian music. Save it for the weekend. But during the week, if you expect me to keep going and to get shit done, hell, even, to better understand certain situations or tolerate something you have to do, like go to work, or here comes another, test and time to study, right, for school, or, when you do have to get your blood drawn or your pee checked, even your picture taken at the DMV to renew your driver's license. All that waiting in line can take hours to do any of it. Shit like that can frustrate the spit out of you if you let it, because it has to go, you know, still get done, right? So, unfortunately, you may need to take certain meds, but some of the best ones have, some side effects. But you learn that it's weighing out the pros and the cons, especially, short term. You adjust and let it do its job, like an antibiotic, for instance. Oh, wait, I got one. How about you are weighing in with your counselor? You're there to talk about your issues and your feelings. You take a look at them. And you are told by your counselor after mentioning how confused you are and unsure of, what makes you happy. She says, well, you can break it off if you want to, no matter how long, with, because there are dozens of fish in the sea. Opportunities too. At first, you think you feel so much better with your new choice, but you soon feel like, hey, I don't think the help is helping anymore. And she tastes like hot dog water. Yikes. I would rather take what I learned and make up with my ex, because now I want it to work, because just the idea of it already is making me feel better. So you see, help can be harmful when it comes to sometimes a simple choice, because when you're now at rallies for lunch because you're hungry and they did not cook the food right, so it's now turning in your stomach and has you stuck in the toilet, or a relationship you should not be in because it is holding you back. You should, end when it creates dependency, which fosters helplessness until you do it, or is based on an ideology of sacrificing, basically, one's own needs. Like, you don't want to create drama, but you not leaving is not getting you home. Instead, you're sitting and spinning on the how to approach, when then it's you waiting on more problems instead of getting to clean your slate again. It is called pathological altruism. This is when someone gives up their own needs or opinions to help another person, or, creating dependency when help is given in a way that makes the recipient feel helpless or dependent. It can cause harm. For example, I'd say a parent who is too helpful to their young adult child can create a dynamic of codependency that delays the child's even now independence. When someone gives up on their own needs, helping someone, with a substance use disorder financially can harm them by enabling them the access to both their substance and your income. Here are 3 tips for helping someone who doesn't want help. Number 1, listen and reassure. If someone feels defensive, they may be less likely to accept the help. Number 2, be empathetic. Try to see the situation from the other person's, point of view. And number 3, be an equal partner. Avoid being a savior. Boy, if I had enough paper to tally um, all the times I did that, always trying to jump up and save someone, anyone, if I knew them my whole life or a whole 5 minutes because we just met. I tell you, as short as I am, but as tall as it makes me feel right now, about 10 feet with all that I have learned and am now happy to share with you. Toxic help, let's call it. If assisting someone is overtaxing your time, your energy, or your resources, stop. Even if you agreed to it something before, if the cost becomes too great, whether that's financial or emotional, you can back out your ass or adjust how much you can help. Admit it, the why that comes to mind. Why am I always the one helping others? Well, when we are helping others, our brain emits 3 chemicals, often referred to as the happiness trifecta. Number 1, there's serotonin. It produces intense feelings of well being. Number 2 would be dopamine. It intensifies your motivation. Number 3 is oxytocin, which increases a sense of connection to others. Believe, you know, me, that even this can produce harmful addictions and or toxic relationships, mostly because many are afraid to embrace their true self and live with their own feelings without worrying about judgment or a negative outcome. I can't confirm to you enough that you are worth your destiny, your happiness, and saturated in real love for the rest of your lives. So I encourage you today to lean into it and thank me later. Okay, guys. That's all for today. I hope this helps. See you soon. Bye.